Well, good morning. I'm Daryl Parks, 700 WLW. And what's in the water in Mason? This past week, two, how shall I put this, sexual stories broke in Mason. First, there's a Mason MILF screwing around with 15-year-old boys. And on the blog, I have a sexy picture of her. And then I also have her, how shall I put this, it's almost like a meth picture, but it's actually her mugshot. You can check her out as she's in need. And as you know, if you listen to me on a regular basis, it's true at this point, women are stalkers. They are stalkers in the tri-state area. And I'm sure there are a number of males and men listening right now thinking, you know what, I'm tired, just like Daryl, of being looked upon as simply a sexual object. And then the emails start coming in. As two individuals at Mason High School were suspended with pay, and then a few days later, they submitted their resignations. Why? Why? They were having sex in Mason High School. Mm-hmm. The same high school where the controversy of Stacy Schuler took place. You remember Stacy Schuler last year, right? She's the teacher and the athletic, whatever the heck she was, for the football team that took it one step. You know, like when you're playing Little League Baseball, and after the game, the coach of the Little League team takes you to the Creamy Whip for some ice cream after playing the game. Well, Stacy Schuler took it one step further. Yeah, if the Mason High School football team won, she took them over to her house for a little mattress mambo, so to speak. So you would think after Stacy Schuler almost went away, well, destroyed her career, first of all, and almost was put away for screwing 5 members of the football team, you would think that there would be more common sense happening within the halls at Mason High School. Oh, but no. Oh, no. So it appears there was one teacher and a security cop or a security individual, a security, whatever they call them in schools. You know, when I went to high school, there was no need for police officers to be wandering the halls, but I digress. So there was a security person there and a high school teacher from what I have found out or is rumored to be happening that were in an office. And then an assistant principal started walking down the hall. And the assistant principal hears the bumping, the grinding, the groaning happening in there, and he opened the door. And there it was, so to speak. So the officials in Mason, in the school, they sent a letter to parents because of this inappropriate behavior. And the letter reads, going to parents, "Dear MHS family, you may hear some allegations regarding Mason High School staff. We wanted to keep you informed about the situation and the actions that the district is taking." By the way, there's a punctuation error happening right there. Situation, comma, and the actions that the district is taking. That's a punctuation error. On Monday, April 23rd, 2 Mason High School employees were placed on paid administrative leave. This personnel matter is not being investigated by local law enforcement and does not involve inappropriate action with students. Both employees have submitted letters of resignation. As a course of practice, the Mason City School District always reports violations of Ohio's ethical standards for educators to the Ohio Department of Education. We want to minimize the distraction that this could cause our students and schools. And another punctuation error, and very much appreciate your partnership and all that you do to support student learning and achievement. Sincerely, Tracy Carson, who is the public information officer of the Mason City School District. Where the hell is the common sense today? And the teacher and the security guard? Where's the common sense? I understand there are sexual fantasies that take place, messing around in the office. And I'm not going to be one to say that, messing around in the office hasn't happened here in our building. I know back in our old building and back in the day, before human resources didn't find things like this natural and humorous, like back in Mount Adams. I mean, there were times when you'd just be walking over people, messing around. You knew they were messing around in dark studios. I remember one time when I was working in Peoria, Illinois, the lady that was on the air in the evening called me one day and she said, "Daryl, I've had it." And I said, "Lauren, what's the matter?" "I've had it, Daryl." And in that building, you can take a shortcut from the air studio to the restrooms through the conference room. And I said, "Lauren, what happened?" And she said, "Daryl, I took a shortcut to the bathroom, and there they were, so-and-so and so-and-so." It was the program director of the FM station and the traffic manager of the AM station. And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "What did they say?" And she said, "Daryl, that's the worst part of the story." And I said, "What?" She said, "I stepped over them and they didn't even stop." I mean, I know this stuff happens, okay? It happens at banks. It happens at hospitals. It happens at, you name the business. But where's the common sense in a freaking school? Shame on you. Shame on you, Mason High School. Shame on you, Mason School District. Shame on you, teacher and security guard. Good grief. And after Stacy Schuler, and you still do it? As Scott Sloan would say, WTF. 513-749-7000, 1-800-THE-BIG-1, pound 700 on AT&T. And I know when the stories start leaking out, I know you were wondering if Stacy Schuler had been let out of jail early. No, she's still locked up. 17 after 9, 700 WLW. Fox 19 Storm Tracker forecast. Meteorologist Steve Horsemeyer calling for variable clouds today, maybe some showers, or another thunderstorm developing. Today's high is going to be 60. Tonight, showers and a low of 46. Tomorrow, morning showers, and then variable clouds and a little milder tomorrow, 66 the high, 47. 700 WLW. I'm Darryl Parks, 513-749-7000. It is time for us to call it what it is and point the finger of shame at the quiet bedroom community in Warren County, Mason, Ohio, home of the sacred broadcast tower of 700 WLW. Where 50,000 watts emanates the truth 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. For 90 years. And there in Mason High School, where the shadow, when the sun is shining correctly, the shadow of the Big One's tower of purity. Cast that shadow over Mason High School. The teachers and security people are having sex in darkened offices, being discovered by assistant principals. There are those within the sound of my voice this morning that want me to make this into a political issue. No. I am not going to do that. As you know, one of the rules of this program, if you vote for a school levy, you're stupid. It seems Mason High School, not wanting any more bad publicity, Mason High School took the action, suspension, and then asked for the resignation letters of the two individuals who are, how shall I say, I would imagine they're not shamed because their names haven't come out. Now, I have the research department of this program trying to find the names of these two individuals. Hopefully, we can also find out if they are married or not. And, other than that, it looks like it's probably just going to be a good memory for the security guard and the teacher that was amorous at the time. What is in the proverbial water in Warren County and Mason schools? What is it? What makes the Stacy Schulers of the world and the teachers and the security guards so horny? What is it? 513-749-7000, 1-800-THE-BIG-1, pound 700 on AT&T. Should a line become available? And here's our friend Rick. You're on the big one.
Hey, Daryl, how you doing?
Okay, Rick.
Good. So I'm not a Mason person, but I think it's a step in the right direction, and these people are being role models now because they're showing that they are at least over the age of 18. So they're trying to impress upon the folks there.
Well, but yeah, I mean, this happened in the Mason. These two, they were over the age of 18. And with Stacy Schuler, she was betting the football team or a portion of the football team. But this week we also have the story of the Mason MILF that was messing around with the 15-year-old.
See, I missed that one. What are
yeah.
photos on these things?
I'm sorry?
Are the photos on WLW.com?
Oh, go to my blog. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Mason MILF, I got her pictures.
Take care, Daryl.
Okay. Now, you wouldn't think anything less of me, would you? Come on. All right, Larry on 700 WLW.
Well, I'm just shocked as a Mason parent to hear this story. First, we get a letter from the school talking about something happened and we took care of it and you don't have to worry about it. The minute my son comes home, the first thing I hear is, oh, yeah, there's a teacher and a gal who works in the security office, and they were up to no good in there. I just think it's a lesson that they should be teaching all those kids. Here's the guy was married, evidently has 3 kids.
Oh, he was married. Okay, so this is new info. All right, so
this is what I heard from my student.
What course did he teach?
I'm not sure of the course. I want to say it was the history, but I can't be sure on that. But he didn't have the teacher, but he said the teacher was well liked, evidently really well liked by somebody.
Obviously.
But here's a situation where a sexual encounter gets you you lose your job, you lose your family. It wrecks everything all the way around. They should use this as a teaching lesson rather than just kind of sweep it under the rug.
Well, what they're doing is they're trying to minimize the bad publicity. Certainly Mason High School and Mason schools had a ton of bad publicity last year with Stacy Schuler, and they're just trying to look like they're controlling the situation. And in public relation terms, this is called getting ahead of the story.
Yeah, it's a teachable moment, though. I'll tell you what, mine. And hopefully all of us parents are taking that to heart and using it just for that example like I did. So
yeah, what did you tell your kid, Larry?
I told him that basically what I just told you. I said he wrecked his own livelihood. He wrecked his own family. She probably does. He said that the girl already has another job. She doesn't have a problem. She's evidently single.
Mm-hmm.
But she's already, and she evidently has already Twittered about it because she has a Twitter account that a number of the kids follow because she's been there for a while. So she's already tweeting and just having a good time with this. And it's like, what a home wrecker.
So do you know her Twitter account?
I do not, but if I find out, I'll let you know.
Yeah, call back if you find out. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, Mike. All right, thanks.
Larry, have a great weekend. Let's head to Mike here, 700 WLW.
Girl, this conversation is hilarious because I think what the Mason married people, husbands and wives, are missing is you are lacking the bedroom boogie where your mate has to go out and do other things. So they need to really start paying attention to what's going on in their own household and start realizing that, hey, man, either the wives are out here doing little boys or whatever. But Mason has a huge issue with sexual problems up there.
Mike, it's always focused on Mason.
Yeah, but
always.
And see, that needs to be a wake up to the husbands and the wives. Like the guy who just called, what's his name, Larry?
Yeah, Larry.
He's putting the blame on the homewrecker. No, the homewrecker was the guy. He started and stopped. It was up to him to not do it. He's married.
Right.
So how's the girl the homewrecker? He did it.
What's going through this guy's mind? I mean, here I understand being lured into a questionable situation there, Mike. But and a guy is going to be a guy. But you're married and you have 3 kids, and look, this guy's isn't the first, and he's not going to be the last to fail his marriage vows. But where's your thought process in doing this inside a school?
But I'm jealous. I live in Liberty Township, right next door to Deerfield. My house is literally 1 mile from the Deerfield Township line. How come none of this stuff is easing over to my side of the world?
I have no idea, Mike. All right, Mike, you taking care of things at home? Mike? Mike? All right, Mike's gone. 28 after 9, Tom is standing by with the news. We shall continue the saga, the soap opera that is Warren County and Mason, Ohio on 700 WL. Man, I don't believe you're doing your job in Mason, Ohio.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love.
Good grief. It always targets. It's a bullseye on Mason, Ohio. By the way, the crack research staff here on my program, I got the names now. You ready? A Mason High School business teacher, Jason Osterman, and high school campus supervisor, Kimberly Rowland. Those were the 2 that were doing the mattress mambo, sans the mattress, in the darkened office at Mason High School. Shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. I wonder if Jason was wondering, boy, I wish I would have got some of that Stacy Schuler. Yeah. Missed out on that one. Let's go for Kimberly. And with a name like Kimberly, she's got to be smoking hot. All girls named Kimberly are smoking hot. Anyway, 513-749-7000, 1-800-THE-BIG-1, pound 700 on AT&T. Should a line become available coming up in the 10 o'clock hour today, we will talk about, since we're on the verge, about a week away from college graduations, universities all across America, and all the numerous universities in our area here. We will talk about the worthless degrees your kids may be graduating with. And I have a list. I have the list. I have it. To Warren County, here's our good friend Dan. Dan, 700 WLW.
Oh, hey, I'm driving down the road sitting here thinking, this show's ridiculous. I can't believe we just writed out these people's names. Think of all the things you've done behind closed doors where you didn't want anybody to know. It could be cheating on your taxes.
No, I've never done that.
Surfing pornography sites.
Yeah, I've done that. What else you want to know, Dan?
This is just a microcosm of the big view of this country. It's morally bankrupt. Look what happened to the Secret Service.
What about the Secret Service?
Well, look at the sex scandal there.
Right.
Bill Clinton. There's other important things to be talking about. I mean, granted, we're a little enamored by the whole sex issue.
Well, Clinton hasn't been president for 12 years, but okay.
But I'm just saying.
Have you ever searched porno sites?
Have I? Yes, I have.
Okay. All right. Have you ever cheated on your taxes?
Yes, I have. I think everybody in America has.
No, I actually have never cheated on my taxes.
Well, here and there. But have you done things wrong that you would not want anybody to know? Listen, there's a secret self, there's a private self, and there's a public self. Everyone has a secret self.
Well, Dan, here's the problem. Jason and Kimberly, they should have been thinking about that before they start doing the wackadoodle, as somebody put on my Facebook page, in a darkened office at Mason High School.
No, I completely understand. I am in total agreement with this. But I think we need to start addressing morally the issues that this country is suffering through.
That's a moral issue right there, Dan.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
That's a moral failing. That's abject stupidity.
But I'm just saying, morality is corrupt everywhere you look here. Listen to the lyrics and songs nowadays. Listen to the television.
Well, look. I mean, the songs have been sexually suggestive. Yeah, I mean, that was the complaint about rock and roll when it was, became popular in the 50s.
Yeah, but, back in the 50s.
What do you think the Jerry Lee Lewis song, A Whole Lot of Shaking Going On, is about?
But I'm saying it's a lot more, it permeates our society a lot more than it did back in the 50s.
Oh, I disagree with that. People were having sex back in the 50s, Dan.
Oh, I totally agree. But we don't have, it's not, I think we're a little bit more morally wholesome back in the 50s and 40s and 30s.
No, it just wasn't talked about.
Okay, I've got grandparents who came from that era, and they said,
well, yeah, look at it.
It's a lot cleaner than it is today.
Well, I'm here. I know we don't want to think about this, Dan, but I'm here and you're here because your grandparents had sex.
Yeah, in a moral manner. They were married.
How do you know?
I know my grandparents.
All right. Well, I have an aunt that became pregnant, a great aunt that got pregnant before she was married. It happened. Believe me, it happened.
But, I think there's bigger issues to be discussing.
All right, what do you want me to discuss, Dan?
How about jobs leaving this country? Getting people back in the workforce.
Okay.
Talk about the National Defense Authorization Act, the Patriot Act.
I've talked about that numerous times.
You got to keep talking about it.
Okay.
We are slowly losing our liberties, and no one's even talking about it.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right, well, we'll see if I can get to that today.
All right.
Okay, Dan.
Take care.
Okay. Dan calling from, operable word here, Warren County. Time for the Frischs Big Boy, big play of the game from last night. Reds lost at Great American Ballpark. Looking for that big play. Looking for caller number 7, 513-749-3700. Caller 7, good luck from the home of the Cincinnati Reds. 700 WLW congratulates Eddie Masters of Franklin, Ohio. Today's Frischs Big Boy, big play of the day winner.
Lee kicks and deals. The 0-1 is driven into right field. Here comes Bruce, the dive, and it misses it. The ball is going all the way to the wall in right field. Rounding second, heading for third is Altuve. Here comes the throw in from Stubbs, and that is going to be a triple with an RBI.
The Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, last night from Great American Ballpark. Eddie, you're the winner of a Frisch's gift pack, 2 tickets to a future Reds game at Great American Ballpark. Also, you're registered for the grand prize trip for 2 out to Spring Training 2013 in Goodyear, Arizona from Frisch's and the home of the Cincinnati Reds, 700 WLW. Final score last night at GABP, Houston 6 and the Reds 4. It's an afternoon game today, 4:10 start, as Johnny Cueto takes the mound for the Reds at Great American Ballpark, taking on the Houston Astros. Our coverage starts about 3:06 with the inside pitch on 700 WLW, the big one. Yesterday, it was the second day of the NFL draft. Is that not the biggest collection of geeks outside of, let's say, a premiere for a Star Wars movie or a Star Trek movie or maybe Comic-Con? Good gracious. It was driving me nuts the first night. Every time Cincinnati with the 27th pick selects, and then the group would yell, "What?" like it was a WWE event. Anyway, second day of the NFL draft, the second day picks for the Bengals, Derek Still from the disgraced Penn State University. who is a defensive tackle. We have from Rutgers, wide receiver Mohamed Sanu, and also a defensive tackle from Clemson, Brandon Thompson. The latest picks, and the NFL draft continues from Radio City Music Hall in New York City today. And I think, is it ending today? Is it 3 days or is it 4? It probably ends today. And they head toward Mr. Irrelevant, number 253. And Mrs. Irrelevant has her sights set on Mr. Irrelevant already. Head to the blog, 700WLW.com, and see the offer of our good friend Brianne. Believe me, Mr. Irrelevant will be overperforming if Brianne goes through with what she says she wants to do to make Mr. Irrelevant seem special. 700WLW.com. Go to my blog, search Daryl, and it's a service of Alarm Force. Kevin writes in to D Parks at 700WLW.com. He says, Daryl, and by the way, Kevin is a resident of Mason, where there's something in the water. He says, Daryl, I believe the very tower of purity you speak of is one of the reasons this keeps happening. Every place these women look, there is a massive erect tower reaching high into the sky. In fact, almost 900 feet. There is the 700 WLW tower. And over at Kings Island, you have the 330-foot vertical totem, meaning the Eiffel Tower, with a flashing light at the top, beaconing the unstaffed and unsatisfied women of Mason to do the nasty. I even heard rumors a few years ago the city council floated the idea of a giant clock tower over the city building. It never ends. All right. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Biker Bob. 700 WLW. What's up, my friend?
Daryl, you're a hoot, man.
I try.
I appreciate the humor. Hey, the only thing that really surprises me, when people are shocked when, sexual allegations come out about the Secret Service. It's like, good Lord. You know what? Yeah, I realize it's a Secret Service. I know what their job is supposed to be. But, before these guys were Secret Service guys, they were humans first.
Of course.
And guess what? They have the same frailties and drawbacks as every other single human on the planet.
Well, look, the Secret Service, the Secret Service officers are no different than any other individual that goes out on a business trip. All right, and and people that look, there are people that are on the road for business continuously, and people don't want to admit to this, and everybody thinks that people are pure to their vows, and look, it's just
like, that's the perfect world. Okay, now here's the real world.
Correct. And I mean, right away, it's like with the Secret Service, like people were shocked, and look. Those individuals that were involved in that were, how shall I phrase this? Look, they're there to protect the president. They have a pretty serious job. It's not like a guy that's on the road for selling dog food to a grocery store or working for a big food manufacturer. That's not the case. They're not a salesman. These guys are ahead of the president, so it's who's watching these guys when they're down there in El Salvador or wherever? Of course. I mean, there's a serious nature to this, but I don't think people should be shocked. I think what ended up happening, a number of them getting fired, a number resigning. I mean, their job is to protect the president, and they're putting their themselves and certainly the entire organization of the Secret Service in a compromising position.
Right.
And for being stupid, they ought to be fired.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But, it's like for people to be shocked, like, oh, my gosh, this might happen more than once. Oh, please.
It's not the first time it happened. It's like, they went down to South America and a lady came up, a smoking hot lady, and, their mistake, or the one individual's mistake, was he got the service and then he wanted to negotiate the deal. That's stupid, too.
realize that you have that really important position, and that person that you engaged with has really incriminating information against you, you might want to just give her the extra $150.
Give her the money. Give her the money. Call your buddies, your other Secret Service brethren, and take up a collection. Hey, I need a 20. I need a 50. Hey, do you got an extra 10 you can spare? Some pocket change. I need to raise a few $100 because I was screwing a prostitute. And what happened is I don't have enough money.
We're talking really damaging information that you gave this person.
Right. All right, Biker Bob.
What you did.
Biker Bob, you're a man of common sense, my friend. 700 WL. According to Bruce on my Facebook page, he said I'm working on a perfect show. Thank you, Bruce. In fact, I think the caller quality index today is possibly at almost at a high point. Not necessarily a record high, but it's almost at that record high. We have a caller quality index right now hovering about an 8.4. That's pretty good. All right. Join me on Facebook. Become my friend. We have this, the Mason High School controversy with the teacher and the security individual with Kimberly. And what was the guy's name again? Let me see here. Kimberly and Jason doing the mattress mambo without the mattress in a darkened office in Mason High School. People debating that on my Facebook page. Friend me, won't you? Facebook.com/Darryl Parks, DARRYL. All right, Dale, you're up. You're on the big one.
Hi, Darryl. How you doing?
Good.
I was calling to see if you remembered this Mr. Irrelevant, the human cannonball from Kent State University, Don Nottingham.
I remember the name. How long ago was that?
I was thinking, I'm not sure, but I bet you that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I remember. Who did he play for? I remember the name.
I wanted to think he was drafted by the Colts, but I'm not sure. But
yeah, that sounds right.
He did relatively decent in the NFL.
Well, I was watching on ESPN, I was watching Bill Polian, the former general manager of the Colts and the Buffalo Bills, along with Bill Parcells. And it was interesting because they were talking about the quarterbacks that go, in the top 10. And they went back about 10 or 11 years. And it's amazing how many of the so-called, the sure things that were drafted, the sure, no way, no how were they not going to be big stars and big successes in the National Football League. How many of them were busts? It's amazing.
You're right.
Yeah.
Sometimes when the baseball players get drafted in the 26th round or something,
right,
they turn out to be great players. You just never know.
Well, look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady was, I believe, picked in the 7th round. And look at what a big star he is. Well, we're talking about Mr. Irrelevant, number 253 in the NFL draft, because there is an offer made by Smokin' Hot Brienne, who is making an offer to Mr. Irrelevant. She wants to become, at least for one night, Mrs. Irrelevant. You can check out her video offer on my blog at 700WLW.com, which is a service of Alarm Force. Believe me, it is worth running to the computer to watch. And 10:06 this morning, worthless college degrees, since we're about a week away from college graduations all across America. This is the home of the Cincinnati Reds, 700 WLW.